Hi, you're listening to The Comedian's Tea Party with Si-Deaves. Fair warning, this podcast may contain adult content. It may not. I don't know. I never really have a plan. So let's listen on and find out. Hello and welcome to episode 56 of The Comedian's Tea Party with Si-Deaves. And in this episode I have got the wonderful Kate McGann. So first and foremost, a quick apology for the break in the podcast coming out. Obviously, I'd only just started to get back into the swing of it, started releasing some episodes, making some promises about a Patreon, and then I disappeared. And simply put, there's, life gets in the way. There's been a lot going on. I would say the biggest obstruction to progress is that I had to send off my recorder that I recorded with. I got a new one and it was working brilliantly for a few months, and then the battery pack on it stopped working, so I had to send it off. They said they were going to replace it, and that's been weeks and weeks and weeks. So here we are. So that's what I've been waiting on, really. So I couldn't record any of this stuff. The thing is, it didn't occur to me until too late. I could have. I've got alternative means, but such is how my brain works sometimes. I stalled myself. So anyway, the episode. It's a very, very fun one indeed. If you don't know Kate McGann, she's fairly new to comedy, really, in the grand scheme of things, but it's brilliant. She's doing brilliant things. Married to the wonderful former guest and friend of the podcast, Rich Wilson. Just a wonderful couple. They're lovely. She talks about him through the episode, so that's worth bringing up anyway, because early on she mentions, I think she even mentions Rich or her husband, one of the two. So there's some context for you. Later on, she talks about actual Rich Wilson as Rich Wilson. Anyway, good. Right. Tangent? Is it a tangent? It might be a tangent. We talk about, so obviously we talk about Rich. We talk about her time on Take Me Out, the TV show. Some very funny gig anecdotes. It's not a thing, is it? Anecdotes from gigs. Just really, really funny stories from her. Talks about her new podcast, Nevermind The Age Gap, which is releasing with Rich because there's an age gap between them. And a height gap, which we also discuss. We also talk about how you should use I don't know if you can hear those chihuahuas in the background, but I live with 4 chihuahuas these days, and the owners of the chihuahuas. But there's the chihuahuas are louder than the owners. Yappy. I can't remember where I got to in the thing about my dad, but we talk about how you should employ my dad's services as an artist. He's really, really bloody good. Go and check out deaves.com to go and see his artwork. He's great. Incidentally, I built that website and several others. I'm a website builder. So yeah, if you need websites built, come to me. Go to my dad for art. Come to me for websites, or for your video or audio editing needs. I edit all of these podcasts. I also edit the videos for several other podcast comedians, that sort of thing. What am I doing? This isn't the time to try and sell my wares, but if you're interested, you can give me a shout. She mentions during the podcast something about how her and Rich may have a baby this time next year, which felt like a sort of a really odd comment, and I looked at her at the time and I thought, that's a weird thing to sort of say off the bat, but fair enough. And then after the podcast record, I can say this now because I recorded this weeks ago. They've long since announced it, but they're having a baby, which is incredible news. Very exciting. But she told me after the podcast record, and it's very exciting indeed. Just to clear up, I was talking about the Scottboro Boys in the episode, the one act musical. I got some of the details wrong. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It turns out it's been off of out of the West End since like 8 years, something like that. So yeah, it's a while ago that I saw it. But the bits that I got wrong were that they weren't slaves. They were just a group of black teens in America that got blamed for these horrendous crimes for which they were imprisoned for far longer than they should have been, and many of them weren't pardoned until after they'd passed, which is just it's just a horrendously sad account of racism in the US, and like sort of back then. I think it's fair to say it's still prevalent now, isn't it? But but bloody good show, such a good show. If you get a chance to see it, then definitely do, because it is incredible. I don't know if it's touring. I've not done the pertinent research, but you do that work for yourself. If not, just try and find out about it. It's great, very interesting story as well. So right at the end, Kate was talking about how her and Rich were doing a show at the end of June. And I said, don't worry, this podcast will be out next week, and that will help advertise your show. Obviously, we all know now that has come and gone. So, apologies to Kate and Rich for that. That is, apologies to them both. But here we are. Although, speaking of things that you can come and see in time, shows that are on, I've got my tour show in Worthing, actually, just down the road from where Kate and Rich live. And I had asked Rich to be my support for the tour show, which is ridiculous because he is far too good to be opening for me, but he agreed to do it, which is amazing. And then I told him the wrong date, and then it wasn't until a few days later that I realised he can't do it. Anyway, I've got Dinesh Nathan doing the support, another act who is far too good to be supporting me. But he's doing 30 minutes of work in progress stuff. He's funny, just so funny. Now, I'm not sure I can really say who his brother is, because he's changed his surname so that it's not the same. So he's working off his own merit, which is great. But you can see him on the extras for Ramesh Ranganathan's latest show. Do with that information what you will. That's the pedigree from which he comes. My point being, that is why you should come and see my show, because he's going to be there. Oh, I mean, it's a good show as well. It's a bloody good show. I'm really proud of it. I'm actually going to be booking the show. I've been meaning to do it for a long time and just haven't. ADHD and procrastination has got in the way, so I've not booked it. But the show that I'm going to be recording in Southend, the hometown show, going to be recording it to put it on YouTube, so you'll all be able to see it. Tell your friends. It's not out yet. I've not recorded it yet. I've not booked the show. I'm going to book it either today or tomorrow. So no, I'm not going to book it today because they're closed today. So I'm going to go down tomorrow. I'm going to book it, and then I will release that information for the date very soon. However, if you are anywhere near Worthing, please come down. It's this Thursday. It's at Cellar Arts Club, which is a relatively new community arts centre, and this is, I believe, the first comedy show that they're putting on. They're really keen to do more, so come down, support it. It's going to be a bloody good show. Like my show in itself is, I'm so proud of it. It's really good. And I've got Dinesh Nathan in support, so double the reason to come down. And speaking of shows, Kate and I also mentioned my Brighton Fringe show, which I was doing the second one of. The first one was very fun indeed. Some wild moments in that, as there always are. My shows go a bit off the rails, and it's in a fun way. I had a great time with that. And then I went to go and do the second show, and nobody came. I've already sold tickets for Thursday, so that's definitely not happening, but I could do with selling some more. So please do come down. But it happens. It's fine, but you can stop it from happening again. That power is in your hands. Right, I've been talking for ages, so I won't hold you up any longer because it's a smashing episode. Really fun. It's quite a long one, but it's worth it. The stories are really funny. We had a great time chatting, so wonderful stuff. Enjoy the show. I'll see you at the end. Cool. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, that's what I started saying. I used to do like a massive intro at the start of this,
yeah.
And then I realised that I was doing an intro. Cause I record an intro that goes before it.
Yeah.
So I was doing two introductions, and it really spoils the flow of conversation. So.
Gotcha. So I'm missing that.
So I don't do it anymore. So instead what I've done is spoiled the flow of conversation by explaining that I'm not recording an intro.
That's okay, don't worry.
Such is the level of my professionalism. Cool. Sorry, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just having a lazy day.
Yeah.
Which is what you need sometimes.
That's the dream. That is, I was doing the same thing. slept this morning. Like, I've slept quite poorly for the past couple of weeks.
Oh no!
Because I had a virus like a few weeks ago, and like it wrote me off.
Not the virus.
No,
everyone bangs on about.
Not the old CV. No, it's some virus that my the baby gave me.
Oh no!
And like she was, like she sort of had like mild like diarrhea for a week, and I was fine, and then just one particular Saturday had everything for several hours from like 6:30 in the morning. And then I slept until the evening and then woke up, and I've just been like, it's like I've been jet lagged since.
Oh God, that's awful.
Yeah.
How old's your little one?
She is 11 months.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
That's
she's lovely.
so
I was talking about this last night.
Yeah.
With I just went out for someone's birthday, but someone said, "Oh, how old's your daughter?" And I said, "Oh, 11 months." And she said, "So a year." And I was like, "No, that's not how years work."
She's still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's... Like, if I celebrated her year birthday yesterday, for instance, I would look like a dickhead.
Yeah. Unless she has a month-long birthday. I've got friends that do that.
Yeah.
My friend Nikki, we went out for her 40th last night, and her birthday celebrations have lasted
40th.
a month. Yeah.
That's insane. Like, that's... I don't get me wrong, like, everyone has a birthday week, don't they?
Yeah.
Specifically in their 20s.
Yes.
And I think when you hit your 30s, you start going, okay, maybe it's like a couple of days, like 2 or 3 days at a push. And now, like, I have an afternoon.
She loves the party.
For a month?
Yeah. Well, she went on holiday to Tenerife, so that was, like, most of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we had a really good party last night, and then she's, like, out celebrating again today. It's just carried on. And then I'm not drinking at the moment. So I was just like, it got to about 11 and then the shots came out and I was like, oh, that's my cue to leave. Yeah, and everyone just got hammered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good. Good
Crikey.
fun, though.
That is... I mean, 40 is a big one, to be fair.
It is a big one.
Is it normally... Does she normally celebrate for a month?
No, she normally just does the standard week, like everyone. I mean, I normally celebrate, I try and stretch out. My birthday's in April. And this year was the first year
and you're
that
still celebrating now.
Yeah, still doing it. No.
For the listeners, it's nearly June.
I was 37, so it wasn't like a big one or an exciting one.
37's a big one.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's the wrong side of 35.
Yeah.
But I didn't really do anything. Rich and I had a gig, and then we sort of were down. My mum's in the West Country, so we went down to see her, and it was really nice.
Where are you from?
Oh no, I'm from Brighton.
Okay.
Yeah, but my mum moved down that way a couple of years ago.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Whereabouts, sorry?
Shepton Mallet. So Somerset.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
It's near.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's not far from Glastonbury.
Okay.
It's really nice.
Oh,
really
I've got
lovely.
a feeling maybe I stayed there once on the way to Glastonbury.
And they've got the Wells Comedy Festival at the moment, so that's really near her. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's like the other side of her.
Feel slightly upset that I've not
slightly
heard of that
upset
before.
We're not invited.
I've not even heard of it. Like, it's been kept a mega secret.
It's all the celebs. Well, it's a really good lineup.
I can't say it. Mechanic to be, is it invite only? Fair enough. It's one thing. I've heard of it though. That's the difference.
Yes.
Like, and the World Comedy Festival.
Oh, it's called Wells.
Oh, Wells.
Yeah.
I thought you said the World.
No,
I was
Wells
like, that sounds huge. Like,
no.
Not even heard of it. That's
we
embarrassing.
weren't invited to the World one.
Wells, fair enough.
Yeah.
Is that as in like Wells next to the sea? Wells next to the sea? That's in Norfolk.
That's Norfolk.
That's Norfolk.
Yeah, other way.
Yeah.
I've been there. No, not that one.
No.
That's up. This one's west.
Yeah, up. From here?
Norfolk, we're in Worthing.
Yeah, sorry.
Everywhere's up from here.
I'm from Southend, so it's sort of like, it's up-ish, but it's like, it's up and across. It's just, yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Good. I don't know, I keep doing this where, I can't remember what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes the conversation just sort of continues and becomes, it's nonsensical like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I have to try and produce an actual conversation. And
do you set out questions, or you're just like
I have
having
some
a
questions,
natter?
but I do questions at the end.
Okay, good. I'll look out for those then.
Sometimes I'll have questions if someone's done like some really cool stuff on TV.
Oh,
And
cool.
I'll be honest with you, I've not looked you up, but have you?
No, I mean, the only thing I was on TV for was Take Me Out, which was a game show, a dating game show, and I was on it 12 years ago.
Really? 12 years ago? I didn't really... I thought it was quite a recent thing.
No, it's not on TV anymore. It's got cancelled. I know. So I was on it...
My references are old.
I was on it in 2012, 11 or 12. And like by the time it was on TV, it was like 2011. And I was like 24 and just thought, I know what, I'm going to go on this TV show. If I can't find love, I might as well go on a TV programme to find it. I mean, needless to say, it didn't transpire into love. I did go on a date though.
Did you?
Yeah.
And right, is Take Me Out? Was that the Paddy McGuinness one?
Yeah, with the 30 girls in a row.
And I never watched it.
Yeah.
How did it work? Because like the women turn their light off for the guy, right?
So basically a guy comes down the love lift
were you just the last one remaining going, might as well?
Well, sort of. I mean, so the guy comes down the love lift, which is a bit like the goat being like lowered into the T-Rex enclosure.
Yeah.
And so we had to, if we fancied him, we left our light on. And if we didn't, we turned it off. But the producers would sort of come round beforehand and go, oh, we've got a really good one. Can you keep your lights on just because he's got a really good third round? So it was sort of slightly doctored sometimes if they, because obviously it's TV. They want to make a good TV show. And also I felt really mean turning my light off. And Paddy would make a beeline. If you turned it off, he'd make a beeline for you and you'd have to come up with a reason as to why you didn't fancy him, and then that's really cringe.
He looks like a Nazi.
Yeah, because he's weird. He's got one of the girls actually said, I don't like him, Paddy, because he's got dead pointy shoes, and I was like, oh my god, that's brilliant.
That's entirely fair enough.
I mean, that's obviously cutting for his personality. So I went on, I basically had my light left on at the end, and I thought I'd turned it off for this guy. So he was a wizard. He was a wizard, and he basically...
No, that's not a thing.
Yeah, he was a wizard, and he came on, he had no shoes on, and he had a crystal ball, and did a crystal ball trick. And like David Bowie in The Labyrinth? Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I love The Labyrinth. It's my favorite. Oh my God, you got a David Bowie t-shirt on.
I have.
Good. Labyrinth is one of my favourite films.
Is it?
Yeah, I love it. I keep trying to get my husband to watch it and he won't. He's like, no, don't.
He's never seen it?
He's never seen it.
I mean, he was old enough to watch it in the cinema.
No, he's not really keen. I know, yeah, he could have gone to see it at the cinema. But yeah, no, and it's on Netflix as well. And I'm like, let's watch it. And he just won't.
For reference, Kate's husband is Rich Wilson, the much loved, much loved, yeah. He is much loved,
in memoriam of Rich Wilson.
Previous guest, wonderful comedian, Rich Wilson.
Yes, the ledge. He, funnily enough, I've got a Google phone, and my phone in the photos, it does a weird sort of montage of pictures, and it said, remembering Rich Wilson, and then sent me this weird video and it was in memoriam, and it had this music. Oh my god, there's a massive fly in here. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's not that big.
Okay. And I sent it to him and I was like, this looks like you died. And he was like, great, thanks, Kate. That's fantastic. So at least I've got something to play at his funeral. Yeah. And then he just replied and went, God, I'm a really well-dressed man, aren't I? Because it's just loads of Rich's amazing outfits.
Yeah.
But no, he's not seen Labyrinth. And
Rich strikes me as someone who doesn't wear an outfit more than once.
I mean, he does. Yeah.
Okay.
He does recycle it, but he's just a very well-dressed man.
He really is, yeah.
He's very cool. I love it. He's trendier than me. I mean, I love Marks and Spencer's, and he can't believe it. He's like, you're an old lady.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that as a mark of how cool you dress.
No, I don't dress cool at all. I'm very untrendy. I just wear stuff that I like. I like, whatever. But I don't really have a style.
So
but
I always say, that's just the best way. Just wear whatever you're comfortable in. Yeah. And then I look at Rich and I'm like, fuck.
He looks great all the time. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, just trust me. Like, he'll put something on, and he like mixes up the genres. He'll wear like something from the 80s and then something from the like sort of 50s vibe. And then I'm like, what's going on? He's like, it's a vibe. Don't worry, I'm going with it. And I was like, okay. And he always looks great.
And you know he's right. That's the...
He's always right.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully he'll listen to this.
Of course he will. Yes, of course. But yes, so he's not seen that film, and I tried to make him watch it, and he won't watch it. I don't know why. I will pin him down and make him watch it one day.
Yeah.
But so Paddy McGuinness came up to me and said, so why'd you leave a light on for Kate? And I was like, for this guy Chris. And I was like, oh, I love The Labyrinth. It's my favourite movie. And I just sounded really stupid. Because you have to think of the answer like really quickly.
Yeah,
and there's like
rather than saying, I thought I turned my light off.
Yes. And then, it's just a bit embarrassing. And then there's like 500, 600 people in the audience. It's
really?
it's quite big.
Wow.
Like, it's a big old TV studio. It's a live audience. Yeah. And just like, obviously it's quite a lot of pressure. And then I thought I'd turned it off by his like third round. I had to turn all the way around to watch this video play of like him in his hometown. Funnily enough, he was from Essex as well.
Oh, okay.
And
God, what's his name?
I can't remember his surname.
I don't know him, do I?
Chris the Wizard from Essex. Lovely guy.
Oh, Chris the Wizard.
Chris the Wizard. Yeah, I know him.
It's my brother.
And he, he's just a really nice guy. And I thought I'd turn my light off. And then basically the noise sounded at the end of like the video, and I was clapping, and Paddy went, "Congratulations, Chris, you got yourself a date." And then I turned round, and the spotlight was
it?
Yeah,
oh, no.
it was like slow motion, and I looked along the line next to me, and everyone was just staring at me, and then the spotlight was on me, and like I'm 5'10", so I'm quite tall, and I had heels on, so I come like galloping around the side and running towards him, and this poor bloke, I mean, he's like got no shoes on and he's teeny tiny, and I was like, hello. And he had to take me off to Tenerife on holiday.
Tenerife? That's all right.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get off stage,
That was all paid for?
Yeah. It's
Wonderful.
only 3 days, but worth it for 3 days in the sun.
I wish I'd known.
Yeah. And then as soon as you get off stage, they separate you immediately. But I'm not the sort of person that would be like, oh, he's not my type. I didn't realise my light was left on, because I just thought he's going to see this and it's a bit mean.
Yeah.
So obviously I was like, yeah, he seems like a really like interesting fella. So I was just weird. And then we had a great time on
Did he wear the same thing in Tenerife?
No, he had some nice combat shorts on and a t-shirt.
Okay.
But we had to do Tai Chi on the beach because they sort of cater, the date is all sort of linked to the man. So we did this sort of like or qigong or something, on the beach, and it was all like breathing. But I'd been drinking all day because my date wasn't until the evening. So they were like, oh, we'll come and pick you up about 5. And I was like, oh, perfect. So that meant from the moment I woke up, I was like having cocktails on next to the pool all day.
Yeah, of course.
So by the time they picked me up, I was a little bit sloshed. I mean, I was 24 and on holiday.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to drink. So by the time, when we got to the beach, like the video of me that like on the date, you can just see I'm all like glassy eyed.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to have this conversation with it, and then they gave us more drinks, and so we just got more and more drunk, but we had so much fun. Like, it was good fun. And then afterwards we all went out, like all, because they take
is it everyone going together?
Well, it's per episode, so it's like 4 guys per episode, and then if they all get a date, there's 8 of you on holiday, like on the same holiday. So we all went out and did karaoke and got really drunk.
Sounds
and it
great.
was brilliant fun. So that was 12 years. That's the last
Did
time
any
I've
relationships
been on TV.
last?
Yeah, actually, I went to a take-me-out wedding.
Did you?
Yep.
From your episode?
From my episode, yeah.
Wonderful.
So I went to Dave and Adele's wedding, and that was in Wales, and it was brilliant. And then Dawn and Daniel got married as well, and they've got a baby, and who's probably like 5 now. So yeah, it's weird.
That's cool.
It does work out, but just not for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be.
Oh yeah, I'd just do it for the holiday.
It was so much fun, yeah. And like, I'm still really good friends with a lot of the girls that were on the show. Like my
I thought you were going to say Chris the Wizard.
No, where is he now? Who knows? I haven't seen him.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, let's find him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's on Facebook.
Yeah.
You could go to hireawizard.com.
Yeah. He won't be getting much other work, will he, to be fair?
Well, no. I mean, he might be busy. If you're into crystal ball it's this thing called contact juggling. And it's like you move the ball back. I mean, it's very clever, but yeah, it's quite a niche talent.
That's very... It's impressive, though. I've seen that before, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
But my friend Natalie and... like she came down the other day, and then I've got a friend from Southend, Simon. He was on the show as well.
Is it me?
So yeah, no, another.
Didn't think
Simon.
so.
No, were you on it?
No.
Did you dress up as Superman? No, that's what he dressed up as. It was really,
amazing,
really cringe. It was fun.
It is. I mean, presumably, like he's going on there dressed as a wizard or Superman or anything like that.
Yeah.
To get attention, you stand out, don't you? Unless you're going on as like a Love Island sort of like hunky.
Oh God, yeah, can
dude.
you imagine? I'd like to do. I think it'd be really funny to do Love Island, but for like normal people, not people that look. I mean, their bodies are insane.
Yeah,
but I'd like to just see one with like someone called Trevor, who's just like a scaffolder. From Penge, I'd watch that. Like just a normal people. It was really good.
See, I'd go on that with like my general look of disdain.
Yeah,
and I think that'd be funny.
But I think it's so weird. Freya Mallard does these brilliant TikToks, and do you know Freya Mallard?
I don't think I've met her, but I know I follow her.
Very good comedian. Very good.
She's great.
Yeah, she's great. And she did a sketch the other day where it was like if Love Island was like in real life, and he's just like, oh, I know you're getting on with that guy, but I'm going to go out on a date with him tonight. It's so, I mean, I've never watched it, but it's quite ridiculous concept. But yeah, Take Me Out is really fun, was fun and really silly. And we, like, the guys would always have a talent, and it's like, I mean, they use the word talent very free and loose. It's like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a talent.
Yeah. Like sort of being able to blow a blade of the grass through your thumbs.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's a talent.
Yeah. That'll do.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, the chap whose wedding I went to, his talent was to balance a bench on his chin.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Like a full-size bench?
One of those ones you get at primary school.
Like a what? Like a picnic bench?
No, like a whole lot. The really long
the
ones you get
benches.
at the gym.
Yeah.
That was his talent. And you're like, at what point do you realise you can do that? They're really heavy.
Like, that's not the first thing you went to. Started off with like a ruler.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. And then worked his way up.
Yeah. What's the next logical step after a ruler? Like a wooden ruler, you've got it on there. You're just like, it looks similar to a gym bench, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's quite a big step up. I mean, he had quite a strong jawline, so that's...
You would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good fun. I mean, it was very stupid, but it was on the second series, and
And it was already getting desperate.
Well, I was 24, and I'd been single at that point for like 5 years, but I dated, but I hadn't really met anyone.
Yeah.
And I sort of had that really stupid, like, traditional thing in my head that, you've got to meet someone in your mid-20s, and then you get married at 27, and then you have babies by the time, you know what I mean? Like, I sort of had this in my head that's what had to happen. And then, it didn't happen for me. Like, I dated people, I went out with people, and they were lovely, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Probably because we weren't right together, so we split up. And then, I didn't meet the love of my life until I was 35.
Yeah.
So, it's
different for everyone. Like,
absolutely.
I look back on my 20s, and because we're the same age, I'm 37 as well, though I'm nearly 38. But through my 20s, I was desperate to try and meet someone.
Yeah.
And like all the time, I was just like, oh yeah, do you want to go out tonight, lads? Like, yeah, cool. I just look for girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, and it never happened.
I think maybe because you're forcing it, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Because like when I hit my 30s, and I started like accepting. Because the thing is, I had a great time in my 20s. Like, sort of I toured with bands and I worked in theatre for a long time, which is exciting. Yeah. Like, I did loads of really, really cool stuff. And looking back on it, like that was the right time to do it when I was younger. And then sort of I met my. Well, technically she's currently still my wife, when I was 32, but that felt like the right time to do it. And then sort of, I had a baby when I was 36, and now I'm looking for someone else again, but that's fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that's, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, as long as you do what's right for you and your little one,
absolutely,
and your daughter, like that, she comes first, really, doesn't? Like,
sorry, the fact that you added your daughter to your little one, just in case. Little one. I thought you meant
your Willie.
Yeah. That's what matters. As long as
you look after your little chap.
Well sorted out.
Yeah, you sort.
Sorry, that was the dirtiest laugh I've ever done.
That's so funny. You and your little penis just go out and about.
Wait, what on a little.
No, that's not what I meant. You and your dog. Oh my God, I did something really cringe yesterday at this gig.
Go on.
I normally am very good at like gendering someone, or like not misgendering someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm very good at using they, them pronouns. Yeah. I'm really good at like being fiercely aware of it, especially in this kind. And then yesterday, I just had a brain fart and saw somebody in makeup and long hair and said she. And it then like very quickly transpired that the person in the audience was not a she, was a lovely cosplayer, because I was at Comic-Con yesterday doing a gig, which was very weird. And then was just...
I mean, that's the worst place to assume that's just because someone's wearing makeup.
I know. And then I was like, oh, she... And then, so when you sort of trip yourself up and go, oh, God, don't assume. So, yeah, it was just... I wanted to... My insides became my outsides. It was horrible. It was horrible. I just felt really bad because, I mean, he was fine with it. But he just sort of shrugged it off and laughed, and I was like, well, it's hard because you've got long, beautiful long hair and it's just cascading down your shoulders. I don't know.
If that were me, I'd have just told him it was pretty and left it at that.
Yeah, you're gorgeous. But yeah, like it is one of those things that you just have to be quite careful, don't you?
Yeah, it happens. I saw one once, and it was the first non-binary person I ever knew was in the audience, and they're very, what's the word? I don't know, vicious if anyone gets it wrong.
Oh no!
They'll quite quickly turn around and just shout at them. Whereas, like, since then, I've met a lot of non-binary people who they just quite politely say, "Oh, by the way,"
and then just correct it,
or anyone sort of with a pronoun that you wouldn't expect.
Yes.
Should I say?
Of course.
But so my experience of them was thinking like, I'm scared of ever misgendering someone or like using the wrong pronouns. So I generally don't use any pronouns when I talk to people. Like, I'll try and learn their name and then just say their name.
Yes,
or
that's
just
a good
refer
trick.
to them as you.
Yeah,
and that way it's never going to come up.
That is good. I think it's quite hard when obviously it's an identity thing, isn't it? So it's very personal to people, and I can see why they might get like about it, like no, that's wrong. But I mean, we're all learning, we're all trying to learn this new thing. I'm very careful when I'm emceeing. I always check people's pronouns just to make sure that I know I'm not going to mess it up,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Like I did with that audience person yesterday. It was so cringe. Oh,
Yeah.
God. In his defence, he had beautiful hair.
Yeah.
So...
There you go.
You know, in my defence, sorry, not his defence. But
Someone's defence.
It was a weird gig. Never again.
Yeah. The problem is, like, quite often my mouth works faster than my brain does.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll just say something out loud and then think, okay, I'm going to regret that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I do this joke where I'm talking about like an embarrassing story, and I said, you know that thing where you like wake up in the middle of the night and your brain goes, hey, let's think about that thing that you said to that person 5 years ago, and it makes your asshole wink. You're like, huh? I just have that horrible thing of like remembering something awful that I'd said to someone, clearly didn't go like either as a joke or didn't go down well or wasn't whatever, and I'm just like really embarrassed by it, and then you wake up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, I'm a terrible person.
I would say there's a good chance that they don't even remember.
No, not at all. Not at all. And yet I keep myself awake at night thinking I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I occasionally think of like various things that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And I think, well, if anyone ever finds out about that, then my career is over. It's not that bad.
No.
But it's just bad enough that, like, I think, you know, viewed in a different context or in today's context, because, you know, the world has changed for the better, I would say, generally. It's more stark opinions, a disparate society in which we live. What the fuck am I talking about?
It's good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm going down a conversational rabbit hole.
Lots of words.
But there's, you know, I think to myself, if anyone else saw that in a different context, then like I'm gonna look awful, and I'm the only person that remembers that it happened.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. 100. Well, I mean, I've just got this weird, like, Rich tells me off for it because he's like, you've just got this complex that everyone hates you and that you're a terrible person. He's like, it's just not true. And like, because the thought of hurting someone's feelings or letting someone down kills me.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot deal with it, and then I cannot deal with the fact that I would hurt or upset someone. I just hate it.
Yeah.
So I mean, call me Mother Teresa, I don't know. But no, just that thing of like, oh God, I can't believe I upset them. Like yesterday, like with that lovely chap with his gorgeous hair, and it was a very quick moment, but I will like think about that for ages and go, oh no. But you have to let things go, Kate. Come on.
Yeah. Eventually.
So tell me about your show. Your show's tonight.
Yeah, are you interviewing me now?
At the Brighton Fringe.
Yeah. It's called Si-Clops.
Nice.
And it's...
I love the poster. It's great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that is William Stone.
Oh, yes, classic. Yeah. Rich and I are starting a new podcast.
Are you?
Yeah, and Billy Stone did the logo for it, and he literally, because we came up with the idea, the name, and the logo within half an hour. We were just like, yeah, that's it.
Amazing.
We're going to do it soon.
Can I ask what it is, or is that a secret as yet?
No. It's called Nevermind The Age Gap.
Oh, cool.
And it's sort of talking about sort of the stigma of an age gap in a relationship. And also we're talking about our relationship as well. Mm-hmm. And sort of celebrities' relationships. And we'll have guests on and things like that. And it's sort of not just...
I'm so sorry.
Special guests.
Should I tell you what just ran through my head?
What?
I just thought, you could get Philip Schofield on there. I'm not sure I can even leave that in the edit, but that's...
Oh, my God. I mean, he is available.
Yeah.
He's got some time on his hands.
Certainly, yeah.
So, thank you for that suggestion, Si.
Probably worth avoiding.
Yeah, probably worth. Well, we'll see. I mean, he's probably... Yeah, but... So, we're excited about it, and we're excited about doing... something together. yeah, that's going to wake you up tonight in the middle of the night with a squeaky arsehole.
The worst thing is I'm going to have to leave that in the edit now as well.
No, I like it. It's very good. It's very topical.
Yeah.
Very topical. But yeah, we're excited about doing something together, and we love like gigging together and stuff. But we have noticed that the audience go weird when we mention that we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Because we don't... we're not mean about each other, but I sort of make a joke about him being a hobbit. Because he's so tiny and small and hairy, and I love him.
He's not that short, is he?
He's tiny.
How tall is he?
He's 5'7" 3/4.
Is he?
Yeah, medically proven. He's tiny. And I'm 5'10" and a bit.
That is, the 3/4 is someone really holding on to something.
Yeah, my God.
But he doesn't need to be like not a confident man.
He's a very confident man.
He's got everything working in his favour. He doesn't need to hold on to that 3/4.
He's very confident and he's very handsome. And I think if he was 6'5", he would be a knobhead.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's shorter because he's...
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why I was given such good style.
Yeah.
But then I'm 5'8" and I'm like, what the fuck have I got going on?
Everything.
I've got this trespass bag.
I was looking at your dinosaur socks.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty cute.
They're bamboo as well. So, you know,
nice.
I'll fit in Brian.
Yeah, very cool. And it's Triceratops as well, which is my favourite dinosaur.
Is it? It's my favourite dinosaur.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, bless us.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Something about the age.
Land before time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's... sorry, we're talking about your show and then I just totally hijacked that.
We're still talking about your podcast, are we?
Yeah, so we... that's what I was talking about.
Is the artwork based on the album cover?
Yeah. We just sort of be good because obviously like Rich has Insane in the Membrane and that's kind of got, you know, the musical nod and he's such a big fan of music and he's got his radio show on Islington Radio and he just loves music, talks about music all the time, we send each other songs constantly. He doesn't appreciate it when I send him Disney songs. So we sort of had that thing of, I said, what about Mind the Gap? Thinking like the Tube logo. And then I Googled it and there's one podcast that's got that already. And it's got like 100 subscribers in Australia. And it's like a... what do you call it? It's an estate agent. So I thought, it's not competition. I think we can do. And then Rich said, well, what about we say Nevermind and we could do it like the Sex Pistols? And I was like, yeah, that's such a good idea. So then I text William Stone. I said, I've got this idea. I'm going to do it with Rich. Can you knock up this? And he literally within 20 minutes had it back to us.
Really?
He's so good.
Yeah, he's great.
He's so talented and
he did my new poster as well.
Very good comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah, he's great. He's doing really well at the minute as well. Yeah, it's lovely.
He's smashing it.
I need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
I've known him since he started as well. Because I was just doing like some, fairly shortly after he started, and he was still this sort of like unsure of himself, and I was like, mate, you're fucking great. Just hold on to that.
I remember the first time I saw him was it was 2017, before I'd started stand up.
Yeah,
and I saw him at a show and I was quite drunk. And I was having a really good time and I was on a date and me and my date had gone to see him and we literally were like wiping away the tears.
Yeah,
it was
great.
So funny and we couldn't like handle it and it was like best date ever. Like, where is he now?
Yeah. Where is he now?
He's a friend of mine,
okay.
So we're still mates, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing...
It's worked out for the best.
Worked out for the best, absolutely. I remember seeing William Stone and just being like, oh my God, you're amazing. And then like sort of 6 months later, I decided to get into stand-up.
Yeah.
And I'd sort of dabbled like, 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And never sort of went much further than like a few gigs, like a handful of gigs. And I MC'd a lot because I used to MC cabaret nights.
Oh, okay.
So I sort of had that MC experience. So I used to do, but I wouldn't class that as stand-up. Like that was me just sort of messing around on stage. I didn't do like straight 5-minute sets.
Arguably, that is many people's stand-up.
Yeah, no, I know. But like I wasn't doing a great job. I was just like introducing the proper comedians. but I, sort of dabbled back in the past, and then moved to Australia. And and then when I came back, I was in a play in Brighton, and my friend who was in the play with me, she was like, "You're really funny, you should do stand-up." And
cool.
she does stand-up, Sarah Charlesley, and she's brilliant. And she said, I'll
Pretty sure I gigged with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, probably like in Brighton, she does loads of gigs.
Yeah.
She's in the Fanny Tasticals, which is like
a
troupe of very funny women doing sketch comedy, and it's brilliant. And they just sold out the Spiegel tent in Brighton Fringe.
Oh, great.
And they're smashing it. So, she's in that. And then she sort of said to me, "Oh, yeah, I'll introduce you to the Brighton scene." Then I started doing stand-up, and I remember the first time meeting William Stone and going, "I just think you're really good." And now he's my friend, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But I was like a bit like, "Oh my God, like he's great."
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, because he did the poster for my new show, Best Thing Ever, as well.
Yeah.
And he when he sent me the final copy of it, he said, "Do you mind if I share this myself? I think it might be my favourite poster I've ever worked on." I was like, "Yes, you can, absolutely."
Good. So what's that about?
That is so from when I started writing it, it's just about having a baby, and now it's kind of a spoiler, but it's kind of not. It's 50% about having a baby, 50% about divorce and relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
So but it's good. It's a good show. So yes, very fun.
So you're doing your old show and then working on your new one at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sort of I keep talking about it with verbal quotation marks. I'm touring Si-Clops. It's not really touring. The problem is I'm doing it all myself.
Doing it in different places.
I'm doing it in different places.
That's good.
With support acts.
That's touring.
And it's touring. There's just not many dates, and then I'm going to record it. Is the plan. But the funny thing is, this, and I feel like there's as I'm sure you're aware, most stand-ups have some level of imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
where they start convincing
100%.
themselves that they don't deserve to be sort of doing whatever.
Yeah.
And there are loads of my contemporaries and people that I love and idolise. Like Rich has only just recorded his first special. And then I look at that and I'm like, well, I shouldn't be doing mine then.
No, I know, it's so hard, isn't it?
But then I look at that and think it's similar advice to my dad's an incredible artist, and I've been telling him for years and years and years that he should be doing it, and it's not until he retired that he started taking a bit more seriously and doing more of it.
Yeah.
And started charging a little bit more money. Still doesn't charge enough. So if anyone needs any incredible art done at a very, very reasonable price, go and check out iandeaves.com.
Nice little plug there.
Yeah. While I'm
what
there.
kind of artist is he?
He does a lot of it's mostly watercolours. He does do some oil painting as well, but he does anything from he does quite a lot of vehicles, like cars and motorbikes, because he loves his classic cars and motorbikes. So a lot of people ask me to do those. He's very good at trains. Does a lot of does look quite a few landscapes, and he does quite a lot of just paintings of people's buildings, like houses and things like that, and businesses. And when you go into a cafe and you see a nice painting of the cafe on the wall. Yeah, he does those.
Oh, nice! Yeah. Very clever. My dad's massively into trains. Maybe I should commission him to do a train.
Check out. We'll go on iandeaves.com.
I will.
And there's a section on there, 'cause I built the website. So if anyone needs a website built at very competitive rates,
contact sideaves.
Contact sideaves. There's a section on there for trains as well. So
have
a look. There's some good ones on there.
Love that.
But there's a guy that he used to do loads and loads for, who's a massive train nerd, and he just had sort of endless pots of money. So he got
not Francis Bourgeois.
Yeah. Well, no, but he was very weird. He's now dead. Not Francis.
No.
Bourgeois, yeah. That's my point. Anyway, so I was telling him for years that he should have been doing it sooner.
Yeah.
And I would also argue Rich should have been putting out specials ages ago, because he's had so many incredible shows. He's been incredible for years.
Yeah.
And and people have only been able to see that live, but now it's happening. It's finally happening.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I'm doing it on my level. Like it's not a big venue.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be sort of filling it up, and I'm going to be putting it out there so that I can use that. It'll be there, and then I can move on from that show, and then concentrate on this one.
And it's sort of immortalising it. That might just swallow my tongue.
No, you said it completely right the first time. Yeah, immortalises it.
Yeah, and then you know, to have that thing and go, I did this thing and I remember it, and then you can sort of put it to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, it is always sad, like, because I've done loads of plays. Like I used to, I'm an actress, and I have done loads of like
Is that what you
stage.
Started?
Yeah, I've done loads of stage productions. And there is always that moment when like the final curtain comes down, and then you're like, oh, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to perform it. And it's a very weird sensation to just sort of leave it be, but to have that like recorded and, you know, go out there and move on to the next one is great.
And also, like, it's a show that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny.
That helps.
And and I did a preview of it with Bobby Mayer.
Oh, nice.
And he said to me afterwards, like, his words were, fuck, man, that was great. It's just like packed from start to finish with jokes, and it's so funny. And I was like, that means, like, I love
the
Bobby
world.
Mayer.
Yeah,
so
he's
that
amazing.
meant so much to me, and it was really lovely. So, and that made me think, all right, I should be doing it. Like, I should be doing it around places. So, and
also the thing is, like, you know what you're saying about, you know, looking at other people, and I know it's easier said than done, but it's so hard, especially in our industry, to not compare yourself to other people. Yeah. Like, to not be like, you know, I've been going since 2017, but admittedly not going massively hard, like, you know, like very sort of half-heartedly. And I really only cracked on doing lots of gigs in 2019.
Yeah.
And I did So You Think You're Funny, and I got through to the final, and I was really chuffed with myself. So I was like, 2020 is going to be my year. This is going to be the year that changes everything.
yeah.
And that I change it all around. And then obviously we had a cheeky Panny D.
Yeah.
So it all ground to a halt. And it's hard because I sort of look at other people and go, but they've only been going for 2 years or whatever, and they're on TV, like they're doing, like, you know, a special on Dave or whatever, and then you're like, oh, why am I? It's really hard not to compare yourself to other people.
Yeah, and that is something I think in the last like year or two that I've become quite good at dealing with. Some people and especially, so I was having a conversation with Vic Slayton a little while ago.
Yeah.
She was doing like this incredible gig, and I said, oh, like, you know, how have you done that? Not in like, how have you managed that? And she said to me, you know, like, oh, well, I know this person who knows this person, and they were talking, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like, sort of that happened. So it's one thing, like, you know, you're in one place, you're just in the right place at the right time, or like on the right person's mind.
Yeah.
But what changed my mind about so many things is she said, but crucially, Si, we are appealing to different demographics. And I was like, yeah, of course we are. Like, of course.
Yeah.
And suddenly it became so much easier to deal with the fact that, like, we've got our specific audience, and we've got people that will enjoy us and will work differently in different environments. Obviously, as comedians work in the club circuit, you've got to be able to appeal to sort of a broad variety of people. But also, sometimes you're just going to work better in different environments to other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to crack on doing shows as I can, because I think that's where I'm at my best.
Yeah, and you've got to do what's right for you. And like, what I mean, I love Vic. She's amazing. She works so hard.
Yeah.
Like, she's ridiculous. And I've had said to her, like, at Edinburgh last year, I was like, you're going to kill yourself. You have to slow down. Like, you do a lot. And she's like, no, I know. And like, because obviously Edinburgh last year was hard. It was mental and busy. And I didn't even have a show. And I was exhausted watching Rich do like 6-7 gigs a day, and then his hour-long show at night, and then what's it called?
Late in Life?
No, the arcade.
Oh, comedy arcade
with Vix, and then he did that wonderful podcast, and then they did it like, you know, a show at 11 o'clock at night, so it was really late, and you know, he was out every day, just like doing it every day, and then he said this to me the other day. He was like, I remember when we were walking into town, because we were staying at my friend's in Leith, which was really lucky because we didn't have to pay for accommodation. Amazing. Which is like unheard of. And we were staying at this like massive house, and it was lovely, and we were walking into town because every day you have to go into town to do shows and stuff. And he literally physically stopped, like his body just stopped. And he's like, I just can't do it today. I can't. And I was like, come on. It's like, you know, we're halfway through, or it was like 3 weeks in, I think.
Yeah.
And we had like another week to go. And it's like his body just went, no, I just need to rest. I need to stop.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he had a beer and carried on, and it's like, yeah, just a mild alcoholism like that month. But I think but
that's why so many comedians get ill afterwards.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, because you're seeing
horrible necessity.
It's horrible.
I'm slightly not anti Edinburgh. I love Edinburgh. Yeah. Edinburgh's a beautiful place. Anti Fringe.
Yeah.
And what they force comedians now to become, because it's unfeasible, it's too expensive,
so expensive,
and like it's almost impossible to. And so I was talking to Rhys James about this, and this is actually why I'm filming the show. I was planning to film it anyway, but like he said something else to me, and he said, and it's something that I've thought about to sort of a quite a reasonable length, and I think he's right, because he said, look at everyone that's done well out of Edinburgh and tell me that they weren't already on a trajectory to do well
anyway.
They
were already smashing it.
And Richard Herring was talking about this on Twitter, and I tweeted and said, so like Jordan Gray was on this podcast years ago. Amazing. Like before because she's from Dunred to me.
Yeah, of course.
And now obviously she's like a mega
stratospheric.
Star. Like proper mega star. And I pointed out, like, well, Jordan Gray, and someone said, no, it's the other way around. Someone had said, yeah, well, what about Jordan Gray? Like, now she's on TV, and I know, because I'm friends with her, that, like, even before she went to Edinburgh, she had, like, various TV bits that some of which have come to pass, some of which she still hasn't announced yet, and I know about them. Yeah. She was booked for those before Edinburgh.
Mate, yeah, so like, she already had a bit of fire behind her and like, a bit of heat.
Granted, it definitely helped sell Soho Theatre. Yeah. But she was doing that. She was already on that trajectory. And it definitely like helped her, but she was on, like, she'd be there anyway.
Already on that path, yeah.
And like, you know, there's a few other people as well that were already doing TV all over the place, like Sam Campbell, already all over TV in Australia, and like it's only a matter of time before he did it over here, and he won, and he's great. So like, fair enough. But so Rhys said to me, just save the money on Edinburgh, like record that show, clip it up, because I'm doing this show like very inexpensively. That's why I'm not touring it to a great degree. Also, I'm doing it all myself, and it's fucking hard.
Yeah, of course.
But he said, like, clip it up, put it out on social media, like the clips that you get, and then use that to sell the next tour. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then you just do that, and then you just upgrade each year, just do a bigger and bigger tour. Yeah. And eventually, like, you've avoided Edinburgh and the costs of it until someone invites me there.
Yeah, well, until you're getting paid to go there, maybe. Yeah, exactly. But like, it's just so, and I think it's because last year was sort of felt like it was back to normal as much as that can be, and you know, you're bumping into people that you haven't seen since pre-pandemic, and you're like, oh my God, like, how are you? Let's go for a beer. And that's what you do immediately, is you go for a beer, and then you're like, oh, like chatting away, and you know, oh, I've got to rush over here and rush over there, and you're constantly on the move. And you know, it was quite emotionally charged for me and Rich, because we knew we were getting married in October. So we were like, you know, at Edinburgh, it was, you know, we were living together in this like one little room. We didn't have our flat in Brighton. We had this one little room at my friend's, we were sort of on top of each other, and then he was out all the time, and like there was a couple of nights where I was just like, I just have to go home, like I can't stay out and my friend came, my friend Nikki, who's just had her 40th, is still going on, she came up to visit me in Edinburgh.
It's going to be going on until she's 41.
She came to visit me, and she was getting the train home, and I remember like Googling how much it was to get a train, and we had a week left, and I was like, take me with you, Nikki, and she's like, I've never seen you that like disheartened and broken, and I just found it really hard, and also because Rich is at a very different stage in his career to me, and sort of I haven't debuted yet, I haven't done my first hour, like that's very much like a thing that I want to do next year, or maybe even the year after, because I don't feel like there's a rush to do it. But then like obviously then you see this other side of it, and how much hard work it is, and unless you've got a bit of heat behind you, you don't get any help, and you're doing it on your own. And it's kind of what you said, it's like sometimes you just have to take it into your own hands and just not go and just do something, do your own thing. I mean, debating about
on that, because like last year I had a baby, year before that I was buying a house, year before that was pandemic, and then year before that I was buying a different house, so like there's just been like 4 years in a row where it's not been feasible.
No,
this year to my mind, like I was still going to be living with my wife, like with the baby, so like probably first year probably not a great idea to go for that long, because you're going to be missing loads, and now I'm like, I could go, but I could also just like do loads of shows elsewhere, earn some money.
I feel like lots of people aren't going this year, which is really interesting.
A lot of people,
there's a lot. I mean, maybe we'll go next year, but Rich and I might have a baby. So
you never know.
You never know. You heard it here first. You never. So
does Rich know, or is it?
No.
Going to need to play in this clip?
It's going to be an immaculate conception. The second coming, I believe.
That's how it's done. I'm so sorry.
The angel Gabriel comes down. Oh right, I see what you did there. Very good, very good. But it sort of all depends on timing, really.
Please come and see my tour. It's better than that.
Please. But it sort of depends on timing, really, and where we are. But it's one of those things. It's like I'm still excited by it and stuff, and I'll be interested because William Stone is going, and my friend Dan Jones, who's an amazing stand-up, they're going they're doing the Pleasance.
Oh, great!
And I was like, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. And but in my head, I've just got Will Duggan. We went for a drink when we were in Edinburgh last year, and then he's like, I did the maths. I worked it out. If I sold out every single day for the whole month without fail, I'd still owe the Pleasance money. And it's like, what?
That's insane.
Isn't that mad?
That's so insane.
Isn't that mad? So I was like, so you've worked your socks off for a month and you've sold out and you've done your absolute best and you'd still owe them. I mean, admittedly, he said it was like £27.50, but it's still like, you're not even breaking even. Yeah. You're not even getting a profit. You're not even making any money.
Because then he's still paying for food and all sorts of
accommodation. You still got to buy a beer, which is like £7. So it's I mean, we're really lucky because we can stay with friends. Yeah. And we've got a couple of friends that live up in Edinburgh, and so it's like it's not the end of the world that we can stay there. But I think maybe if we went next year, it would do like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do 2 weeks.
That's like Sam Campbell did 2 weeks and he won.
Mad. Yeah, and everyone was like, what?
Everyone's just turned around and gone, okay, we can do that next year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because obviously everyone thought that you have to do the whole run in order to be in with a chance, but clearly you don't.
Yeah, I think you've got to do like 10 shows within the last 13 days, something like that. Right. But that's mad as well because like, you could why can't you do them at the start? Yeah, it's stupid rules. They need to question a lot of what they do, but
they do, and it's just money making. I think at the end of the day, and I think the other fringes are like that. I just feel like they're, you know, sort of exploiting the talent a little bit, and it makes me sad because it's like, well, hang on a minute, everyone would
have a better fringe if they did a shorter run.
Absolutely, for their mental health and their wallet.
Pound for pound would be better. For the wallet would be better. Mental health would be better.
100%.
You know, like there'd be a wider variety of shows available to audiences.
It'd just be a nicer vibe. And I think if all the shows were, it would be nice to just have everything as a work in progress, and everything's just very relaxed, sort of a bit like MacFest, you know, everything's, it is, the vibe of MacFest is great. It's very chilled, and everyone's there together, and you know, everyone's doing like work in progresses, and the audiences at MacFest are ridiculous. They're so lovely. And
I've not been, and I really want to.
Oh, it's amazing. Because I did my show there this year. If they're listening, Henry. But yeah, it was really nice. I mean, I only had like 12 people in the audience, but I was
still nice. So
it's still some people, but they were so nice, and they were so engaged and so lovely. And I did my work in progress, and I think if I went next year, I'd want it to, you know, maybe work a bit harder to get it full. And
you just scale up each year, don't you? That's the plan.
It's just they're like really, really nice audiences, and they love comedy. That's the thing, they're comedy fans, and I think sometimes the audiences in Edinburgh are just sort of passerbys and they're not really comedy fans
as well. They're so saturated, like, because I'll talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to see 7 shows today, and I'm like, well, you're going to hate everything after the 3rd one,
pretty much. Because
you're going to be tired of it, like, you're not going to give a shit.
No,
you know, you'll be numb to it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that's Edinburgh. Let's put that to bed.
Andrew Bird said to me once, in regards to going to Edinburgh, he said, like, you don't have to rush into doing a show, and like when you think you're ready to do an hour, wait another year, and then maybe do it, and then or maybe wait another year.
That's excellent
piece
of
great
advice. Yeah.
That being said, I don't think that necessarily works for everyone, because some people will just put a show together and it will turn out that the show's great. And like for a lot of people, that first show is just a combination of all their best bits, which is like great, because comedy should be full of everyone's best material, right? But also, like, I had a bit of a sort of a revelation with some stuff where I was like, to find it changed the way I write completely when I wrote it was my first show, because I was trying to find connections between sort of various bits, and then where there weren't but like I'd notice things and go like, well, that's sort of connected to that, so maybe I'll write another joke about that. And then it changed how I wrote, because I was writing for a purpose to get it to this thing. And like I ended up with some jokes that were better than some of the other jokes that I'd written because I wrote these new jokes and it's but point being, I'm quite prolific in writing, so I just like the first time I ever did 40 minutes was one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life. I thought, that's all I want to do now. I just want to do like longer stuff, because people get into it, people buy into my character, because like I'm a bit weird and a bit awkward, and I can do it in sort of 5-10 minutes, but like it's better when it's longer. And
you've got more to play with then, and you can like really get into your stories.
And also like with the stories, you can afford to sort of lose them a little bit to bring them back again, whereas you can't do that in 5 minutes.
No, of course.
It's not enough time.
Pierre Novelli's show, did you see it?
No.
Oh, it's so good. His show at Edinburgh last year, he goes off on the biggest tangent, and to the point that people are like, it's like at least 30 minutes of a tangent, and you could see people going, oh, he's not going to go back finish that joke, he's not going to get back to the point.
That's great.
And he, when he goes back to it, like you could hear everyone like go, oh, it was so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It was such like collectively we all took like a deep breath and went, oh,
yeah.
It was so, I mean, the payoff was amazing. It was
great.
like a big old stretch. It was lovely. Yeah.
Nice.
Very funny.
I've got stuff in Si-Clops that like the thing is, because I was doing it so much in advance of like something that, so there's like sort of a couple of bits that work as callbacks.
Yeah.
But because I was doing it so much in advance, I didn't want it to feel like it was setting up for a callback. So I wanted it to be like his sort of own individual thing. But also when it does come back as a callback, it's like, oh, okay, that's already fun. Now it gives even more context.
Yeah. That's good. I always forget to do callbacks. I'm always too
you
like
have to do them.
Yeah,
like,
I'm always too excited.
I'll do them in conversation. Like quite often happens in podcasts. Suddenly, like someone will mention something, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, like Chris the Wizard. And like, I mean, that was.
Please don't mention him again. It's triggering.
You told me before we started that he's all you ever think about.
Yes, this is true. Sleepless nights, wondering where he is.
Yeah, sleepless nights, thinking about something that you once said to him.
Yeah, I do like.
There's the callback. There we go.
I do have a thing for men from Middle Earth, though, clearly. Like hobbits,
very
wizards.
Hairy feet.
Yeah.
But also, what I find particularly weird about sort of writing shows now, because I do have the same process. I'll show you in a minute. I've got I do everything on Post-it notes, so like I write individual bits on Post-it notes, but put them in a book, and then you can move them when you notice connections between different things.
That's clever.
And it's like it's based off of something that sort of I heard someone else talk about on ComCom Pod.
Yeah.
But I tried it, and like I did it in my own way, and like colour coding various things. I mean this and that, and all of a sudden I found that things like meshed together. And I think the most interesting thing to me, and I'm still not entirely sure how I did it, is a lot of my shows like have wild tangents like all over the place.
Yeah.
And best thing ever is literally 50% one thing, 50% another thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like, there's tangents in it, but they're not tangents. They all relate to something else. And that's like, and then looking at my older shows, I'm like, well, that isn't even related to anything else that I'm doing, but it's still funny, and I make it work sort of contextually, and it doesn't feel like I've just added a random bit out of place. But this new show is just like, it's felt like the most cohesive story that I've put together, which is odd, but fun.
As long as you enjoy it.
Yeah. Hopefully other people do, but
not just about you.
As long as you enjoy it,
as long as you're having a nice time, Si.
Yeah. Good. Cool. Right. Wonderful. Are you working on a debut show?
I am. It's called Kate Expectations.
Great.
And it's basically a sort of autobiographical. It's talking about like my childhood and dating and meeting the one, and basically I've linked it to the story of Great Expectations.
Okay, cool.
Because I feel like Pip and the main character and I have lots of similarities. Because I am a trained blacksmith. I'm not. But like I just like, I always thought I was going to be like Miss Havisham and end up single and in a big old mansion. I don't have a mansion, but I just sort of saw my friends would make a joke about me being single and a dried up old spinster like Miss Havisham. So I sort of thought, well, was going to be like her, but now actually I've realised that I'm more like Pip, and he goes to seek fame and fortune, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds great.
It's good fun. It's a good show.
And again, like that is, you've given yourself a sort of a theme where you can still do like random stuff, but like you've also got a bit of a thing tying it together, which is great. Yeah, lovely. Oh, cool. I look forward to seeing it.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Let's do some questions.
Yeah.
Crucially, how do you made me a lovely tea? Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
That. You told me before I got here that you make a good cup of tea,
and
you were correct. You do.
Oh,
you
good.
Yeah. You passed the test.
Lot of pressure.
I think that's actually the first time that someone's made me a cup of tea on the podcast. other than the one live episode I did with Stuart Goldsmith, where I got Ross McGrain to go and get me all of the bits while I was on stage, because I didn't want to get it too soon and for like everything to cool down. So like while I was on stage chatting to Stu, I got Ross to bugger off and grab a load of stuff.
He's a good boy, Ross McGrain.
And now he's much more successful, and it really amuses me that I got him to do that. Feels like I've won.
Yes.
But how do you make your tea?
How do I make my tea? I have got a teapot there, which I don't use.
In the living room?
Yes.
Yes. Not the traditional location.
Not the traditional. Well, look how small our flat is. It's like there's no room to put it anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I've got a bar, and then it's on top of the bar. So
it is a bar?
Yeah, the booze is in the bottom.
Lovely.
I know. It's great. Not that I'm drinking. We... I do if we're making like for quite a few people, but I just go tea bag in the cup.
Yeah, classic.
Boiling water.
Good.
Yeah. Leave it for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
2 to 3 minutes. The longer the better. And then I don't drink dairy milk. I drink oat milk.
Yeah.
Because I'm a legend.
Sure.
And also I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I eat cheese though, so I'm a big old hypocrite.
Yeah.
But you know, I like being a hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. It's one of life's great pleasures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like,
get to lambast people for one thing.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to do it.
I'll smash a Baby Bell down, you know. But no, I won't drink dairy milk, which is weird.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway, yeah.
To each their own.
To each their own. But I've got used to oat milk now in tea, so that's what I drink.
Yeah.
And coffee. I'm trying to not have caffeine as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is hard. I love caffeine.
I don't have that much of it. I drink tea.
Yeah.
But I don't really drink that much of it. But
no. Well, we've got a coffee machine.
I don't drink coffee. I don't like it.
Oh, really?
Never have done. And I've tried. I've given it goes, but it's never quite worked for me. But I had I can't remember what it was. I just had some like illness like last year.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely exhausted, and I had day nurse for the first time, which is like chocker with caffeine.
Oh, so you were high as a kite.
And I was bouncing off the walls. It was unbelievable. I got so much work done.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Yeah. But then the crash afterwards was not so pleasant.
I can imagine. Well, I'm still having a bit, but I'm just trying to wean myself of it, because basically we've got in my day job we've got a coffee machine, and it's recently broken, and everyone's like, "There's coffee doesn't exist anymore because it's broken," and I was like, "Well, we can get instant," and everyone's like, "Don't be disgusting. We can't drink instant."
Yeah.
I like instant. I don't mind.
Okay.
I'm very classy.
To each their own.
To each their own. To it.
Yes. What tea bags were we drinking there?
We were drinking Yorkshire, classic Yorkshire tea.
Red?
Yeah.
Red box, yeah.
Red box.
Lovely stuff.
Nice.
Good.
Go traditional.
It was, yeah, absolutely, yeah. If it ain't broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. Cool. Right, now the following questions are less about tea. Oh, no. Well, I'll try that again. That wasn't words. Do you dunk a biscuit?
I do.
What's your go-to biscuit?
Do you know what? At the moment, I've got ginger snaps.
Yeah.
I haven't bought ginger biscuits in ages, and then I just fancied them the other day, and I dunked that. And Rich was watching me dunk it for slightly too long the other day, and he was just waiting for it to drop in. It was a very tense moment. But I love a biscuit.
Yeah.
My nan used to go through digestives like they were going out of fashion.
Yeah.
But she convinced herself, God bless her, that digestives, because they weren't the nicest biscuits, that they were the healthiest biscuits. She just told her.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, they pretty much, like, they've got... And she's like, yeah, but they're not the chocolate ones, and they're not a shortbread, and they're not. And I was like, yeah, but they still got loads of sugar in that. Yeah. And she was like, no. She used to smash like
I kind
a
of don't enjoy these, so I'm going to eat them.
Yeah. But yeah, easily, because she would have multiple cups of tea a day.
Yeah.
She was addicted.
Yeah.
And then each cup of tea, she would have 2 digestives. So she would probably go through 2 packets a week.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like maybe 1.5.
I'll never forget when I was 26, 27.
Yeah.
And I lived in a flat in Southend with a mate. We'd just go and buy like a packet of rich teas.
Oh, yeah.
And then with 1 cup of tea, I would have half that pack.
Oh, my God.
And then
I mean,
about an hour later,
there.
I'm quite thirsty. I might have another tea then.
I love a chocolate hobnob.
Yeah. That's the
I can't have I can't have shortbread in this flat because Rich will just sit and eat them all.
Yeah.
You know the shortbread fingers?
Yeah, the best ones.
Yeah, he will just
like the thick
demolish them, yeah. So I can't have them around. But we can have like look, you've got 2 Easter eggs there. We can have chocolate in the house and not go near them, but shortbread is like, oh my gone.
Yeah.
See, we're trying to be healthy and it's going terribly.
No, I mean, you've got Easter eggs there. So.
We're trying.
And just to remind the listeners, it is still almost June.
Yes, so they're from April.
Yeah. That's I've done worse than that. I think I've eaten Easter eggs in like July before.
Really? Yeah. Let's see if we can get to July. They're good ones as well.
You take them out and they start turning white like that kind of.
Oh no!
They're still edible. They're still fine. They're not mouldy. It's just white. Chocolate's gone a funny colour is all.
Just throw them away.
Yeah. What's the worst thing you've ever seen thinking it was something else? So the example that I have here is Matthew Crosby said he... like it was sort of longer after Halloween than it should have been, and he was walking with his daughter and she wanted to go and see the jack-o'-lantern that was on someone's doorstep, and as they got near it they were like, it was rotten, like it was putrid, there were sort of maggots and all sorts, and he regretted going near it. So what have you seen that you thought, I'd like to see that, and you got near it and deeply regretted it?
Oh my God. I've got that sort of, because obviously we do a lot of driving being comedians up and down the country, and I cannot help but look at roadkill. And it's the most horrific thing, and I immediately regret it as soon as I look at it. And like there's a lot, because we're sort of in the countryside a bit more, like we're not that far from the countryside, and there's always like foxes and I hate it, and I hate looking at it, and I don't know why, but I can't seem to so being morbidly curious about roadkill and then feeling sick afterwards, and
then you see more of it than you need to. I think the worst one, I saw a badger yesterday that was like, it was on its side, but like it was a whole, like it looked like it had just sort of been hit and then like sort of waddled off and like fell over. It's so sad. Yeah. But like sometimes I'll see stuff and be like, oh, that's interesting. Is that alive? And no, that is half of what it was. Yeah.
I saw a whole deer at the side of the...
Oh, that's sad.
At the side of the motorway the other day. And I was like, that's a whole deer. How the hell did you hit that? But because I'm terrible though, when I'm driving, I will slam my brakes on, which is so dangerous. You're supposed to just hit them.
Yeah, not deers though. They will rip your car apart.
Yeah,
they're solid beasts.
They're mad. And like if I see a fox, I will like, and Rich is like, that's so dangerous, please. Or I like swerve around it. And he tells me off, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to hit a fox. I love foxes.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
I saw a video once of there's an old woman sort of driving, and then she hits a badger. Like she's not going sort of terribly fast, but it's enough that like her bumper's like basically falling off and her airbag goes off.
Oh my God.
And the badger gets up and walks away and like looks at the car like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my God. I mean, badgers are
they're so
mad.
Hardcore.
They're so like, I love them. I think they're cute. We used to have them in our back garden when I was growing up. Yeah, and my nan used to make them peanut butter sandwiches. And they used to like sit in the back garden eating them.
Lovely. They always look like I want to stroke one, but I think that would be such a bad idea.
Absolutely, they'd rip your hand off. Yeah, but they're super cute.
Like David O'Doherty tells a story about how he was talking to like a rural farmer. Obviously, you don't tend to get many sort of city
dwellers, no.
And he said that the advice that he gave him when it comes to badgers is because they've got a locked jaw and they bite your leg and they'll hold on until they break your leg. So he said the thing is, if you're walking through countryside, you should be holding a stick and snap it over your leg so they think that they've broken the bone.
Mental.
And he said... That's what he said. It's like, that's mental. Imagine like being in that situation and having the peace of mind to do that and not just swing the stick and go, fuck off.
Yeah, smash it around the head. Oh my God. Vicious little thing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Horrible.
We're looking after my friend's dog at the moment.
Badger.
No, we're looking after Badger. So we're looking after my friend's dog at the moment. He's somewhere else today, but he's coming back tomorrow. And he's very chilled. He doesn't bark. He's not bothered by other dogs. Like, he'll just ignore them. Like, he's very, very calm. He's really, really good, very well behaved until he sees a fox.
Really?
And then he goes absolutely batshit. It's really like, we've got the wall in the back garden and it's like 6 foot off the ground and there's a fox that walks over the back of that. So I'll be like watching telly and then you'll see it in the TV walking behind, and Raffles saw it and was like up at the window, nose to the window, like rah, like going absolutely mad. And I was like, so I just had to apologise to the neighbours. I'm so sorry, there's the rabid dog in my house.
Sorry, there was a fox.
It was a fox, you understand. He's very territorial when it comes to foxes, clearly.
Yeah. But my parents' house backed onto a field and there was a little... So there used to be a shed at the end of the garden and we knocked that down and turned it into a little studio so I could play drums in there. And I came out of there once and was face to face with a badger, like 3 feet away.
Oh my God.
And there was just a moment where like I was just coming out of the studio and like I was just locking the door and I hadn't quite locked it yet, so the door was still open, fortunately. And I looked at the badger and it looked at me and like we made eye contact with each other. And I thought, like, I know that badger knows that it could, like, tear
rip
limb
your
from
face
limb.
off.
But the badger also looked at me as if to say, I know you're bigger than me.
Yeah.
So let's just call it a stalemate.
Yeah.
And I just I looked at it and I slowly walked backwards into the studio and just waited for like 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
And then like,
having a standoff.
The badger had buggered off. And I think there was just a moment where like, the badger's like, I know I could beat you, but you are bigger than me. So I'm like, all right, well,
I'll give it a go.
We'll leave it there, shall we? Like, we'll call it quits.
I could just have this vision of you like shaking the badger's hand. Don't worry, I'm not going to have a go. I've got your friend.
It'll be fine.
Cute.
Yeah. Cool. Right.
Any more questions?
Yeah. I mean, I've got loads, so I'm not going to ask them all.
We'll be here all night.
What job would you make national service? So my go-to example of that is because I used to work in Screwfix, and I think everyone should do at least 3 to 4 months working in a Screwfix.
Oh.
Because you learn what all the stuff is. Like, I already had quite a good idea anyways. I was quite good there, but like I already had quite a good idea of like what everything was. But there were people that were working there, and more so people that were coming in saying, I need a thing that does this thing and I don't know what this thing is. It's like, you should know what that is. It's quite a basic thing.
Yeah.
And I just think people should work there to get an idea of what things are and how they work.
Yeah.
And then we can just function better as society.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. What, this should be a national service. Oh my God. So like send the kids away to do it.
No, like they could do it as adults.
They could do it as adults.
When they're old enough to sort of understand what it is they're doing.
Well, I mean, you've worked in a theatre, haven't you? Yeah, I worked in the Theatre Royal in Brighton for years, and I loved it. And I think getting a mandatory working in the arts would be nice, because it should absolutely have more funding. I feel like it's massively underfunded. I find it criminal that they're trying to cut drama and art classes from the curriculum. I think that's insane, because they don't want any free thinkers. They just want mathematicians, which is bananas.
Yeah.
Who likes maths? No one. Shut up. I find I'm not very good with numbers, so I'm like not really a big fan. But I I feel like working in the arts, in a theatre, and broadening your horizons in terms of watching plays and watching amazing shows and watching musicals and theatre and experiencing art. That's working in art galleries.
It changes your understanding of how things are put together.
Absolutely. Changes your perspective on life.
Yeah.
Love it.
It also changes people understanding actual theatre etiquette. And like shows and that sort of thing, of just learning to not be a dick.
Yes.
Because you get to watch it from the point where like you're sober, you're working on it, you want to make it the best you possibly can, and when someone shouts out, tries to interrupt, like, they're not helping.
No, I mean, I remember years ago, I was working...
Also, maybe the same thing should apply to people doing stand-up. I think everyone should do it.
I mean, that's what I mean by arts, in the arts. Like, it should cover comedy shows, it should cover everything. Yeah. Every kind of live performance, ballet, you name it, like dance, stomp, whatever that is, that everyone needs to work in a theatre. Because, I mean, there's so many different roles and different jobs in the theatre, not just on stage. But, so I was an usher and I was working, there was a play on called The God of Carnage, and Richard E. Grant was in it.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic actor, amazing. He's a British,
man.
A lovely guy.
National treasure.
And he excellent in Spice World.
His standout role.
I mean, that's what he's famous for. He's very good. And someone's phone went off in the front row in the middle. Like, they couldn't have been in a more... And obviously, I'm sitting at the back of the stalls, and there's just nowhere that you could... There's no way that I could have got to them to be like, turn your phone off, like, do that sort of like thing.
Stop throwing stuff at them.
Yeah, because they were just too far away, and like as soon as you walk down the front towards the stage, like the whole royal circle, second circle, and gallery can see you. So it's not like you could have snuck at the end of the line of the row and gone, please turn your phone off. It was just a very obvious place. Anyway, so this woman's phone went off, and you could see her or them, you could see visibly like shrinking into their seat. Like,
just notice what you did there.
God, this is...
Assuming it's a her.
Yes, them. And God of Carnage is a fourth wall. It's got a fourth wall. It's set in a living room.
Right.
And Richard E. Grant broke the fourth wall and walked to the front of the stage and stared at this person in the middle row, like gave them a death stare, because their phone was on. And I was just, I mean, that's squeaky bum time. Like, I was just... Oh my God, this is horrific.
That's when you start looking around, just like, who's this that?
Yeah. Oh God. And you know exactly what. And then he went back into the scene, but I was just like, like time stood still. And it's that thing of just like, have some respect. Like, turn your phone off, turn it on silent, set fire to it. Whatever you need to do, don't disturb. I went to see a show in London last week, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
what show?
I went to see the Lehman trilogy, the Sam Mendes play. It was it's directed by Sam Mendes. It's got 3 actors in it. They play all the roles about the Lehman Brothers crash that happened. It's the biggest bankruptcy bankruptcy case, that's it, that's the word, that's ever existed. It was billions.
Wow.
And they basically it happened in like 2008, I want to say.
Okay.
Hope I'm not making that up. Look it up on YouTube. Wikipedia. And the internet. It's the 3rd page or the 4th, I believe. So they're the Lehman Brothers, and it's the story of the Lehman, and it was played by these 3 amazing actors, and the staging was incredible. But the amount of like phones and stuff and watches and stuff that were beeping, and I was like, come on, guys, turn your bloody phone off.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't constant, but you just noticed it, and it really annoyed me. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah,
everyone has to work in theatre, the arts.
Yeah, because I mean, like I say, I used to work in the theatre, so my phone was always on silent during that.
Yeah,
but then like when I stopped working in the theatre, I started stand up. So like, I wouldn't know what my phone sounded like if it rang.
I don't know what I never have. I might have it on vibrate, but I never ever have it on loud.
Yeah,
I have no idea what my ringtone is. It would probably ring out because I wouldn't know it was me.
Whose phone is
that?
Like,
I don't know my ringtone. Yeah,
no,
that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're so cool.
Just for a random point. I don't think it's running in London anymore. But there's I go to see quite a few shows.
Yeah.
There's a show. It's a 1-act show. It's about an hour and a half. But there's no interval because it's too intense of a story for there to be a break. Because the idea gets too light-hearted. So it's just a sort of slightly shorter show than that show would normally be. Maybe it's like an hour and 20, something like that. Called the Scottboro Boys, which is a story of there were like black slaves that they were posthumously pardoned in like in like the 2010s. It was late, but they were killed sort of many years ago. I can't remember when exactly, maybe the 50s, 60s. Yeah. No, were they black slaves? They were definitely black.
Did you see the show?
No, I was asleep for the whole thing. But it was absolutely phenomenal, and there was like skeleton cast. There was one white guy who played like the tyrant. Yeah. Sort of bad guy, and there were two white women characters played by two of the black guys, but they just like they did it like perfectly. The whole set was like they utilised. They had some tables and chairs, and that was it. And they turned those into like all the different things, like into a train carriage and a car, and a courtroom and like other things like that. And basically, like they were hanged, I believe, for sort of the sexual misconduct towards these two white women. It wasn't, they didn't do it, and that's why they were pardoned eventually. Like the story truthfully came out, and it was all these guys from Scottboro who were like, they were travelling, and two of them had slept with these white women, and then like the town had found out, I think, or like someone had found out and said like, well, did they rape you? And these women were like, yes, they did actually. Like, they did all these horrible... and they lied about it. Awful. And they like these guys were killed, and then they were posthumously pardoned when it sort of came out that...
That's mad.
It's completely... But it was so intense, but it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow. Where is it?
It was in London, but I don't think it's running anymore. But if it like tours anywhere and you get the opportunity to see it, I would very much recommend going to see it. But that is one of those situations where if anyone's phone had gone off, like, it just would have ruined the entire thing.
Because you're so in it.
Pardon me, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. My tea's obviously making it.
Yeah. I gulped the last of it down. Sort of created an air pocket in my body. I was trying to escape. But yeah, it was absolutely incredible.
I want to see more stuff, but it's so expensive. Yeah. Like, I was really lucky, and my friend Sula said, I have a spare ticket, do you want it? And I was like, amazing. Absolutely. And it was a trilogy, and it was an hour and 15, I think, well, that was the first bit, and then it was 50 minutes, then 50 minutes. And I always need a wee, so I was God, this is going to be torture. But it was actually all right having two intervals in it. But it was brilliantly acted, and it was absolutely fantastic. But I do want to go and see more stuff. Absolutely. I mean, we've got...
Look up the Scottboro Boys, just in case it's still there, because it was amazing.
Yeah. There's a musical...
I've seen a lot of shows. Obviously, I worked in theatre, and I've gone to watch a lot of stuff. One of the best things I've ever seen.
Amazing. I'd love to. There's a musical that's on in Broadway, and I really want to see it. But obviously that's quite a long way to go.
Quite a distance.
Yeah. I mean, talk about expensive tickets. That's really expensive. So I'm hoping it'll come to the West End one day, and I'm trying to like manifest it coming here. And it's called Hades Town.
Okay.
And
I've heard of it. Yeah,
it's just like the soundtrack's amazing, and I just really want to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping as soon as that comes to the West End, I'm getting tickets for it straight away. But yeah, I love it. Love the theatre. Love the roar of the paint. As they say in the IT crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Amazing.
Good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Thanks for inviting me to your flat.
You're welcome.
I'm going to text Rich Wilson and tell him that I've weed in his toilet. See if that freaks him out.
It's a lovely flat. It's good.
lovely.
We've only just moved in, so
Have you?
we moved from Brighton.
Well, it feels very homey.
Oh,
already, so,
thank you. But yeah, we just sort of needed somewhere that was like slightly out of town, and it's just cheaper and it's so much nicer in Worthing. Like I love being here. So I've lived in Brighton for a long time, for most of my life. So it was quite nice to move somewhere different for a bit.
Nice.
Maybe.
Yeah. Cool. Have you got anything to plug?
Well, our upcoming podcast,
Yes.
which we haven't recorded yet, but I'm sure it would be great, called Nevermind The Age Gap.
Yeah.
And
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
we've got a gig.
Give it a 5-star review.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't exist
listen
yet, but
wherever.
also give this podcast a 5-star review.
Yes, absolutely. It's brilliant. And Rich and I are doing a work in progress at Newport Pagnell in Newport Pagnell. So we're doing his show, which is called Let's Go Round Again, and then my show, Kate Expectations, back to back.
Yeah.
So that is on a date.
And whilst you look that date up, that reminds me, because you said earlier about seeing couples individually on stage and then realising that they're talking about each other.
Yes.
And I've seen quite a few, because there's not like a huge amount of comedy couples, but I've seen like, was it Harriet and Bobby? Maybe.
Yeah.
I could be thinking of someone else where they each do material about the other person, but they don't let it on.
Yeah.
And they don't reveal it, and then they did a thing together, and they were like, "Yeah, we are together."
Yeah.
And that it changed the dynamic, but like because they'd done it in that way, where they had individually done their material, it's delivered as it should have been, and not received like. Oh, you're talking about them?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the audience. I think it's because you know, when I'm a sort of non-entity and he's talking about how tall I am and he does like silly jokes about me, and vice versa, I do silly jokes about him. I think when it's like some mystical husband or wife who does indoors, that sort of thing, people are comfortable to laugh. But when as soon as we say, oh, that's about me, they get really weird because they're like, oh, we're not really allowed to laugh because they're in the room.
Yeah. It's but like doing any jokes, like even, not that I'm saying doing racist jokes, but like any jokes about race when there's someone of that sort of heritage in the
really
room.
Like,
people are like, oh, can we laugh? And they all look at them for approval. So.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. I mean, he did his show, Let's Go Round Again, at MacFest.
Yeah. Cool. And
it was brilliant. And he had an idea of what he wanted it to be about, but he hadn't actually sat down and written anything because that's not how he works. Mm-hmm. And he's so talented that he can just go up on stage and smash out an hour off the cuff, which is mad.
Ridiculous.
Like I have to write notes and bullet points and all this stuff. So he did the show, but I was at the back, and then he did say that I was at the back, and that's the first time that the audience hasn't gone weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think because it was in the context of his show, and they don't know that necessarily that I'm a comic as well.
Right.
So, but it's when we do gigs together. Mm-hmm. I mean, we did the boat show recently, and he was emceeing and I did a spot, and then we didn't mention it. He did jokes about his wife, I did jokes about my husband, la 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 la. Did the gig, did really well. Audience had a nice time, and then as we left, there was a big group of the audience. out the back, out up the stairs, like as you go off the boat, and they all went, "Oh my God, they're married! Oh my God, they're so cute!" And then they sort of cheered us, and we were like, "Oh yeah,
That's
hi,"
funny.
because we were like hand in hand walking up, walking the plank, and so that was quite nice to have sort of that in joke for audience members after
to see it from
the show, and then they sort of had the penny drop and they had that moment. But we're probably going forward, we're not going to mention it, because they get weird. 25th of June is when we're doing it.
Wonderful, cool.
Yes.
I was going to ask,
25th of June.
Lovely. 25th of June,
Newport.
I was going to say, will this be out before then? Yeah, it's coming out next week.
Fabulous.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
It's really nice to see you.
Yeah, love to see you. Yeah, cool. And I've got to try and remember my show now.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Try and sell some tickets. I don't know, it's too late,
Go
isn't it?
do some flyering.
Just ask some people to come up when I see them there.
Do it.
Yeah. Amazing. Right. I don't know how I end these.
Thank you very much.
I've done loads of episodes, but I don't know how it ends. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love you. I'll speak to you in the outro. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So that was Kate McGann. Brilliant fun. I'm sure we can all agree. Don't forget about Si-Clops. My tour show is happening in Worthing this Thursday, the 13th of July, if you hear this in time. If you don't hear it in time, it still happened then, but it's past, it's too late. But come down. It's going to be a really brilliant show. Worth the travel. Dinesh Nathan's doing a bit of a work in progress to start. It's going to be great fun. So yeah, come down. Right. I've mentioned it so many times in the past. I've mentioned a Patreon thing, and I've done it. I've started recording the episodes. I don't want to start releasing them until I've got like enough of a backlog. But basically, the concept is that it's a sort of a behind the scenes. If you've seen Backstage with Catherine Ryan, imagine that, but like it hasn't been curated by a TV company. Imagine that it's real gigs. I think that's something that people are going to be interested in. I think they're going to want to hear about it. It's real. Not to say that that any of them weren't real comedians, but these are sort of circuit comedians, many of whom you won't have heard of, many of whom some of whom are new. Like the first episode that I recorded was at a night with two fairly new comedians. I had the wonderful Ali Woods headlining, Matt Edlington MC, and I opened. It was a fucking good show. It seemed like it should have been weird, but it was really, really good. We had a great time. But yeah, so we have a chat before and after the show, a little bit during, just talking about the gig, like what the gig's going to be like, just what's going on with them as well. We talk, it's a bit of social chat, it's a bit of gig chat. It's just the sort of thing that happens in a green room. What I have discovered is it's not as easy to record those episodes as you think it might be, because often people are concentrating hard on the gig at hand before it's happening. Often it's too noisy. Like I'm going to try and record a bit tonight. I'm doing a gig for Outside the Box it's got an incredible lineup, like really stellar, like Ben Clover, Pat Cahill, Matt Foster, me, and headlining is Milton Jones. So I'm definitely going to be able to talk to some of them. Hopefully, like maybe I'll take them outside, chat to them out there. I'll see what happens. I'm going to try and talk to Milton if I can, because I'd love to get him. But that's the sort of thing. Like if you want to be a Patreon, if you want to listen to that, that's the sort of content I'm going to be putting out. I'm going to be talking to all levels of comedians all the time, and there's it's only going to be growing, doing sort of bigger and better gigs all the time. But then it's interesting talking to the new people as well, seeing how their new material goes, that sort of thing. Obviously, there's the regular gig at the Alex in Southend, down the road from me. It's 5 minutes from my house. But it's a noisy place, so it's not always easy to record there. But we get a lot of incredible comedians coming through, so I'm going to be talking to a lot of people there quite regularly, I think. But hopefully I'll be able to start releasing that stuff sort of once a week is the plan. I just want to make sure that I've got enough of a backlog, just in case I've got to draw a couple of weeks, that I can continue releasing episodes. They're not going to be massively long, but it's a bit of extra work in it. So if you want to listen, I'm going to make it as cheap as possible. You can pay as much as you want per month, from £1 upwards as much as literally, like, if you can afford to pay more, then please do. If you want to listen to it for cheap, it will be available to you for £1 a month. But you know, I'm putting in the hard work for something that I think people will be really interested in. So yeah, and you know, I'll be giving. I need to work out like the different levels of what you get. There will definitely be shout outs. I'll give shout outs on the podcast for people that subscribe, and I don't know, like maybe I'll finally get around to making the t-shirts that I keep promising to make. You'll probably be able to buy them separately. But if you subscribe to the Patreon for X amount of money, then you'll maybe you'll pay a certain fee for the year and get a t-shirt with it. I don't know. We'll see. It's very exciting. I'm very excited. What a wonderful time to be alive. I hope you're well. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. I've got some incredible guests coming up. So wonderful stuff. I love you. Goodbye.